Hey, and welcome back to Talos Principle. Last time we did actually write a novel, but alas, I'm not next to Terminal anymore, so we are going to check that out in a bit. Instead, I'm gonna go for... Well, I guess I could just go for the Terminal up top, right? Let's do that before I go into like actual puzzling. But yeah, as always, it's been a few days, so as always, I'm looking forward to actually playing again. Can I just jump up here? Okay. Nice. I'm still kind of confused about like the top here because it seems like there's like another layer I can basically somehow get to, but we will probably figure that one out like sometime during the level. Anyway, short threads. Short Bildungsroman. Autopost by the Story Tutorial Manager, Lord Story Seed 527445 to read. Kaiju, good to see you joining in, Uriel. What a read. I'm not convinced this narrative is extensive enough to truly qualify as a Bildungsroman. I do agree, it kinda just feels like a setup. There's like definitely something missing. I mentioned this like at the end of the last episode that I kinda feel like this is like a novel that I would maybe read or would have read like if this is like kinda the setup to it. I don't think it's like a finished product. I feel like a 4 out of 10. I probably wouldn't even give it that. Let's be honest. Okay, that was a lot shorter than I expected for some reason. I don't know. Maybe just because like I am such a famous celebrity, right? We did read that one before, right? Yeah, Athena Tan. Because I'm such a famous celebrity, I thought maybe, just maybe, more people would have liked to write something. Wait a second, can I? Can I make it up this mountain path here? And then maybe somehow to the bridge? Because we do have like a little bit more range to walk. Also, if I just never looked over there, it's like a lot grayer than I had like back in my mind, I guess. Anyway, it seems like I can actually kind of make it up here. I don't know if there's like a jump that's possible, but I'm very curious about like the top area here in general. It's more of an aqueduct, isn't it? I mean, not quite, I guess. There's like not a lot of water flowing, right? It also doesn't really feel like it would keep a lot of it in there. I feel like there's probably like a word I'm forgetting for like these kinds of bridges. Anyway, I guess I'm just gonna go over here then. Because, oh, you even give me like an automatic jump. They always like kind of surprise me when they happen, like when I'm not expecting them. It would be nice to, right, like I was running forward and then suddenly like jumps to the side. It would be nice to have like a button where you could just say, hey, like, let's ignore the setting. This is like a minor thing about this game, right? Like, because it doesn't really come up that often, but there are definitely some moments, especially when I'm trying to, fight the geometry, where that's like more of an issue. Okay, I can just go here. That's nice. Okay, so at least was right about that. And apparently there's something inside that I can't interact with. Is there even a puzzle I can see from here? That one over there, huh? But I do need a red laser, that's like an issue. But what would he even do afterwards? Huh. Like, this is blue, right? Yeah, this is like a blue laser, so I can't use this puzzle. So it would have to be like another one. That one over there is definitely red, right? Like, this is the one that we just came from. I might... Nah. Like, I don't think it's possible for me to, like, look through here. Because, like, there's obviously still, like, the bridge in the way. So that's going to be an issue. Can I... I can see that part. Is there, like, a connect... Ouch. I'm always surprised, like, you're kind of getting pushed through the gate, like, whenever you touch it. Right, that's sometimes very surprising. It could also be over there, like both of these areas, like I can definitely see this one, but I don't see like a way. There's a blue connector, okay. That's bad. I don't know if there's like going to be a red one over there. Like we are somewhat limited when it comes to like the different colors, but it's good to know that I know how to get up here now. And maybe I can even reach it like from this side. Okay, there's definitely a connection that makes this a lot easier. Do I want to go over there? Looks like a lot of buttons. Not necessarily lasers. Huh. I'm still gonna do it, right? Like, I mean, I'm kind of formulating this as if there's like a question about like me ever doing a puzzle. I'm absolutely doing all of them. I'm just like kind of confused about like why I'm doing this. It's like a major part. Like again, this is just completely blue. Maybe there's like a way to get like a red laser in there via like some other means. But I don't think that I would have to like use all of the puzzles at the same time to like solve this bit. I'm just curious about like, I guess the structural integrity of this, you know, ruined area. That's also falling apart, like, actually, you know, because of the data transfer and stuff. Anyway, I don't think I can. Okay, I can actually make it up here. Just, you know, again, I'm kind of curious. I would like to explore slightly more. It's just because it's like such a prominent landmark. I wouldn't be like too surprised if there was like something hidden at the end of this, but apparently there isn't. Which, you know, fine. I'm not gonna complain. I mentioned this before, I prefer to not have to walk everywhere and instead have like a more clear puzzle in front of me. And I do kind of have that. I'm just gonna jump down here, right? I mean, that's what my legs are for. Okay, I do have a connector here. If it's like a red one, then I'm... Harmony. If it's a red one, then I'm going to be quite happy. There is a red one. Okay, that's already great. Okay, you activate those, and we do need a red laser here. So if I have a connector, around here I can definitely make this. Okay, just have to remember that, and you know me, and remembering stuff. Also, there's a star. I could almost make that with a jump, I feel like. Okay, let's go through here. And just look around, okay. But I feel like there's also going to be like more puzzle. Oh, you're okay, you're solid one. Can't do anything with you. How do I open this gate? Also, this area is like extra laggy again. It's just something that I sometimes notice, and it makes like moving my camera around really awkward in a way, right? But I don't like to complain about this like too much. I just note it every once in a while. I think it's like definitely a critique, like when it comes to this game, that like the performance is kind of terrible. But I also don't wanna like dwell on it like for hours. Anyway, okay, I do need a fan here. Okay, this is like the first, or I guess the last thing that I need. So this is like the connection. There's also the issue that... Is that even an issue? I don't think that is actually an issue here, because I can just put like a connector like to the side of it. If that ever comes up. I just don't know how to activate these here. I guess if I put like a box there that would work, but I can't reach it currently. We probably need like some sort of jammer. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a jammer somewhere here. Okay, I do have this box. I cannot climb up here. Oh, wait, I'm so stupid. I do have boxes though. Wait a second, I probably want this one first. Just so I can reach it later on. Because this should just allow me to, yeah, get over here. I do have a jammer here, that's amazing. So if I bring the other box as well, then I should definitely be able to do that, right? Like this is like, I guess, the easy part. I'm gonna start over there because I feel like I'm gonna like soft lock myself. Or am I? Okay, I don't actually soft lock myself if I go over there. But let's activate you. Get you activated and you jammed. And I do have a fan here that might just be here so I can pick you up. Can I connect to you and to you? And then I can remove you. Okay, I just noticed the issue. Can I jam you like this? Okay, that works. So if I climb up here, I should be able to grab like the second box as well. And that should in theory be enough if I see this right. Okay, you're activating this one, and this is like similar to before, just like kind of a fan holder. I don't actually need you for anything else. This is interesting that the puzzles here work like that, because it's like something new, I would say. It's certainly not something we've encountered before, like in a base game where we had like a, I guess, just a space to only hold those. Anyway, I can definitely activate you from here, but I don't think I want to do that, right? Huh. I'm gonna do it for now. Wait a second, I'm gonna do it for now. Not really that necessary, because I still need at least like a box, and like even if I have the box, it doesn't actually do anything for me. Okay, let's keep you open. Wait, I actually need to keep like the other one open first. That would be this one. Okay, perfect. And then I have like all the components here again. That's nice. I do need the... Wait a second. Am I just silly? Like if I do this and then jam you, then it's still not enough. Okay, I do have like more of a puzzle here. That's important. I just wanna like time you right. Yeah, you're definitely not giving me enough time. Alright. How do I reach that place though? I need to probably just go around somehow. I need a second jammer. I bet there's a second jammer, and now, you know, now that I'm here, I can also jam you. This is going to activate that, and then what do I do with the lasers? Oh, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Do I have a second? I don't have another one, right? Oh wait, I do. I did have one over here. If I connect to you over here, I do have an idea. Can I jump up here again? Okay, I can't. So my idea is like if I time this all right, I can basically get like an offset and have like multiple of you active at the same time, because I could use the box here. Give me you. And if I connect to you as well and put you on the side, like if I time this right, this should be doable. Because like sometimes the one orbs are going to be like the issue, and sometimes the other ones are. I'm gonna freeze you here, so like the timing is at least right. Right, so there's like a very limited amount of time where like, you know, something breaks. I don't know if it's going to work like this. Yeah, no, the timing is off. Wait a second. Okay, it's literally just like a timing that's terrible. I'm gonna freeze you for like a second or so, and then you. And maybe this is better. Why are both of those... Oh wait, I'm stupid. I am so stupid. I for some reason thought like I timed it wrong, but like it's literally just that I have to activate you as well. And that should be enough? Okay, it's not, because now the timing doesn't work out again. Okay, it did actually work out again. Quickly. Okay, I can at least flip the lever. Perfect. Free another friend. This is obviously not the end of this level, because there's like more to it, like over there. I'm gonna check that one out in a moment, but hey. The blacksmith! Hey buddy! Really love your work. Not even a thank you. Wow, can't believe this. Okay, I'm curious if like the blacksmith is... Okay, this wall looked like extra glitchy, that's why I wanted to check it out. But I guess I was just imagining something. But yeah, like this looked like extra glitchy. I'm very curious about like whether the blacksmith is actually going to have like a comment about that. Welcome back, shout that. Ooh. Why do we deserve to be saved? Jefferson Goldboom announcement and top thing. Top. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave this real quick. Okay, now we can read important things. Okay, top things, 10 things I love about Gehenna. But I would just go for the... I'm just gonna go like top to bottom. Like normally I go like bottom to top. I don't know why, but just feels right. I'm just gonna start with the announcement, because like obviously I'm so invested in this story of Jefferson Goldboom, right, in the 9th dimension and the human world, that I kinda just need to read this. Wait, there's actually a long text. Okay, I'm just gonna, you know, read. There doesn't seem to be like anything else here. I started writing the next episode, but suddenly I don't know whether to continue. I mean, what's the point? It's over. It's all over. Yeah, so I guess all of this will be remembered. That brave soul who ascended the tower, or who wakes up outside Elohim's garden, will know everything we know. I think that's what it'll be like. That's what the shepherd meant in those messages. But you and me, we won't exist. not as people, not as minds. No matter what happens, I will never be able to finish the adventures of Jefferson Goldblum. Does one more episode matter? I had the story planned out all the way to episode 500. I can never get there before the end. What's the point of an unfinished legacy? And still, I can't quite give up. I know I don't have the blacksmith's vision or Mr. Multiple's intelligence, and a stupid little story matters to me. But the stupid little story matters to me. I care about Jefferson Goldblum, and Ginny HD, and Frankie Soy Sauce, and all the other characters as if they were my friends. I would have gone crazy here without them and their adventures. They may just be symbols on a screen, but aren't we all just information? Maybe when we ascend, we won't be that different anymore. I just don't want to give up on them. Interesting outlook. I mean, obviously interesting outlook, right? Like, have you seen this game? No, but seriously, there are obviously two layers to this. The first one is like they don't really know what's going to happen with like the upload, 100% at least, but like or like I guess the theory that they tend to accept at this point is going to be that like everyone's just kind of going to be like this amalgamation at the end as like parts of the memories of like the Ascended one, which is technically me, right? Yeah, like not you real me, but like original me, right? So that's interesting. And this is, I guess, the question about like legacy. Does anything matter? Does it matter if something's unfinished at the end? Especially like if... Okay, in this case, a lot of it exists already, right? Like the story isn't done, but there is like so much to enjoy. Let's say it like this, right? Like this is like not just about Mac, it's also about like creative work in general. Is it worth it, I guess, to start a project if you can't finish it? And like my answer is like oftentimes just yes, right? Like there are definitely projects you kind of have to finish for them to make sense, but especially like stories with like chapters, like sometimes it's enough to have like half a story. I say like it's enough. It's probably not enough. Like the fans are going to want the whole story, but I've definitely read fan works, especially, right? Like it's a little bit different. Like if you read like a product, right? Like a proper product that got sold and stuff, where you're getting like half a story, but especially for like something that someone just created because they wanted to share a story, not as like a financial or like a product to get like any financial benefit from it, but like actually just to like share a story with others. Especially those, I do think they are very much worth it to just have like half a story, right? Like again, I have to kind of separate like the art as art from like the art as a product, right? Because like if I started following a series and then only got like half a series and it was like a product, right, that I paid for, I'd be annoyed at that. And while I would be sad when it comes to like fan work, it's definitely more like a sadness that it never finished, more than like I guess a madness about like having wasted so much, financial assets, right, like money in there, right? But like even like a half story can be something great. We kind of mentioned this bit, like I mentioned this bit, like in the previous episode when we talked about like the writing of a novel, right? Like I want to be completely honest, I did not think that this novel was like a great novel that we kind of produced there like automatically via those prompts, but there were like gaps in there that made me think. And like if I wanted to, like if I were like really invested in that story, I could have totally like continued that story like by myself. Like this is a story that would have inspired me in this case to like make another story, and this is also a part of the legacy, I would argue. And this actually goes like even further, because like when they're talking about like a finished product, or like I said finished product, finished story in this sense, the question is, imagine if like there was like another chapter now and that was like just a terrible ending to that story, right? Like technically it would be finished, right? But would it really, right? Like there was like always more potential. Like I think most artistic works have that. I don't think there's like a singular artistic work that has like 100% of all loose ends like tied together and it just works like 100%. Like sometimes there's like something off, and sometimes there are just like moments that didn't work. But I do think that these, I'm gonna call them like flaws, often are like really great, I guess, points of inspiration, right? Like you don't really have to continue working if perfection has already been reached, That sounds like maybe weird, but like, if I read like a story that was like 100% perfect, or like consumed any piece of media, played a game that was like 100% perfect, I think 9 out of 10 times, as if the perfect thing existed, 9 out of 10 times, I don't think I would like think about it like a lot afterwards. At least like not to the extent that I would do with like a flawed thing. I don't know. Do you know like these pieces of media that you've like seen and you're like, oh wow, there's like a core to this that you really love, but like the story just didn't work out like like you wanted, and then you maybe go back and like think about like all of the moments, right? Like if they just changed this, if they just changed that, if they just continued this storyline, how amazing it would have been. Well, this is like also a part of the creation process, and you know, I guess you're also a form of creative when you do that. And I think that makes it like so much more interesting than, again, like imagine you had like the most perfect work. Yeah, you could probably analyze like points in that, but I think like the flaws would make it more interesting like to the average person, because like, yeah, you could make like a video essay on YouTube about like the perfect you know, story that exists and talk about it. But I think, how do I put it? If you already have the perfect story, then there's like no incentive to continue this perfect story, right? Because it's already perfect. What is there to continue telling a story about, right? I'm not saying that it's like not great. There are like a lot of pieces of media that are beloved and they are like generally seen as very great. Some even claim with like perfect, like I'm gonna call like episodes or like parts at least that they like to analyze, and it's like really fascinating. But like nobody would take like a perfect story like that and then, you know, add to it, because again, it is already finished. And I view it like this, right? Like, and this legacy could obviously like work as a jumping off point for whoever comes later. And it's just like about like the art, and this goes for like a lot of other projects, right? Like unfinished projects. Like sometimes it's interesting to continue working at like other fields outside of art. Again, mentioning science, right? Because we mentioned like I mentioned these papers that like are hyper specific, and oftentimes they have like either flaws that other scientists can see, or like other people who are just like interested in that, and then they work their own papers based on them, right? Like on the same topic, and this is like kind of how we are progressing step by step, right? Like if we already reached an end, then there would be no progress anymore at that point. Anyway. Lilith, Mac, I just want to say this. No matter what happens, I look forward to every one of your stories, and they meant more to me than I perhaps ever indicated. They might not have moved as deeply as others, or made me think as much, but of all the art we produced here in Gehenna, it was your stories I was always the most excited to see. Part of it was the stories themselves, which always seemed to make the universe seem bigger, and another part was your genuine enthusiasm for what you were doing. You told me once that you didn't feel you were really a proper artist, but maybe the exact opposite is true. Maybe you were closer to the real meaning of art than anyone else. I cared about you and about your stories, and that too will be remembered. That's a sweet end to that. But yeah, this is, again, I feel like because like a lot of topics kind of intertwine a little bit, I have to always say like, oh, we talked about this before, right? Like as if it's like that important. But yeah, like I mentioned this before, that I think that like something being good and something being liked are two different things. It's like a first thing, and this is like Liv kind of agrees with that about like how there are like a lot of other pieces that might have been like more important, like on a maybe, I guess, like artistic level than this. But that does not mean that this other story can't be someone's favorite and move them in another way. Can just be entertaining, right? Like I've read so many things, like so many stories that I do not think were that great, but they entertained me, right? Like, and entertained me enough that I was willing to like keep up with like those stories until they were finished and done. Even though I never really felt like they, in the grand scheme of things, had like such an artistic value that like everyone had to see them, right? Like they were just like stories that spoke to me personally because of my sense of humor, for example. And if I were to really analyze them, I would probably see them as very flawed, as opposed to like other pieces where like people generally can agree that they were better at like doing the thing that's sought out to do, basically. But still, right? Like, this is like first thing, right? Like, something being good and something, being a favorite doesn't necessarily align, even though there's definitely correlation between, like, generally, like, stories that are, like, good at achieving what they want to achieve are going to be more like on average. Well, to be fair, I do say that, but there's actually also, like, the opposite thing, where especially in narratives, we do like to have, like, I'm gonna call it, like, heroes loosely as our protagonist. Even though, like, right, there's, like, the debate whether they are really protagonists, because protagonist, to my understanding, actually means, like, the one who acts first, which oftentimes is actually the bad guy, but that's another story. But, like, what I'm saying, basically, like, the point of view character that you're following, that people generally like to see them as, like, a good person, right? Like, say it like that. And there are also, like, pieces of media where, like, the protagonist is... Thanks, camera. Anyway, there are also pieces of media where the protagonist, or, like, the point of view character, is just like my cam, very much flawed. And even to the point where the point is that you, as a consumer of that art, or, like, I guess a viewer, whatever you want to call it, like, someone who interacts with it, is supposed to hate them or dislike them for whatever reason. And I would argue, if this piece of art is good, then you are really hating this person, like, at least disliking them. And depending on the traits, like, again, I would argue, if the point of a piece of art was that you are being like that you are uncomfortable reading it, for example, because, like, the protagonist is just, like, so awful, and they succeed at it, then it is a good piece of art, I would argue. But I would probably not enjoy it, right? And yes, I just like to bring that up again, because, again, this is, like, one of those points that is, like, very, I guess, central to my belief system, I guess, that good and liked are, like, not the same. This is why I like to bring it up every once in a while and, like, kind of drive home the point with, like, different examples. Anyway, also, imposter syndrome a little bit with, like, saying that they did not feel like a proper artist. But there's also the point about, like, enthusiasm, right? This is, like, someone who genuinely does this because they want to share something, right? And I think this is, like, what a proper artist would do, right? Like, this is not for financial gain. I don't actually, like, they do not seem like they did this to, like, gain ranks. And, like, the more fascinating thing is, like, even though there were, like, so many episodes of the story, they're only, like, rank 5, right? So I don't think that this was, like, the main reason why Meg wrote those stories at all. I do genuinely believe them that they were just, like, passionate about the story that they wanted to tell. I do not believe that everything was planned out till, like, episode 500, let's be honest. Sometimes, writers like to exaggerate a little bit when it comes to that. But still, very fascinating. I mean, there's also more stuff to it, right? Like, as someone who, like, I bring it up every once in a while, I really like playing, like, tabletop RPGs, for example, right? Like Dungeons & Dragons and similar. There is, like, the whole idea that the characters, like, I'm more like a game master, so I don't actually play that many characters, but, like, the characters my players are playing are also, right, like, I'm not sitting in a room just with, like, my friends. I'm also sitting in a room with, like, those characters in a way that have, like, their own motivations and their, like, own acts. And it really always fascinates me how attached you can get to those, right? Like, and obviously some more, some other, some less, but again, some may consider them friends. I don't know if I've ever had a character like that I would go that far, but it was always nice to see, like, certain characters again, right? Like, this is another thing, right? Like, I like hanging out with my friends, but there have definitely been like campaigns that I preferred, like, game mastering for, because, like, a friend of mine played a specific character that was just, like, really enjoyable to see in, like, this fictional world. And they become, like, a lot more real, especially because you spend, like, so much time with them. Anyway, even though, like, they're like even less real, you could say, than the symbols on the screen, right? Like they are also very fleeting, because those moments, they are only there in the moment. And like you may, like, I know some people record like their games, we don't do that, but like we have like a recap at the end, right? Like someone has to write. I forced them. I am a terrible GM, I know. But like even those are like such, like so far removed from like the characters themselves, actually, that like I like, again, this goes like just into the argument that like these characters are even less real than the ones that Mac like spent like many hours of their life probably writing, right, and thinking about. So they become a lot more real like that, right? And like especially with like stories like these, right? Like again, I compare it to like tabletop RPGs, where like these stories are like somewhat collaborative, but it's also like an interpretation of those stories, because like obviously I'm bringing like a story in there, like for people who have not played, but basically I'm basically presenting a story and they're playing the characters in there, or like some of the characters, and their view of the story is sometimes going to be quite different to the way I am viewing those, even though like I'm technically the author, right, in a way. Obviously they're co-authors, because like their actions can like influence it a lot more than like in a proper book. But I'm always really fascinated by how certain, in this case, I would argue like text passages, or like in my case, like certain partial adventures, side quests, whatever you want to call them, touch different people differently. Because, again, like I would argue that probably, in this case, Lilith had probably a favorite passage in that story. That would probably be quite different to what Mac has, thought of. And like in my stories, right, like again, DMing, I always think it's really fascinating when like my friends talk about like things they did in character that I don't even remember, because they weren't even like that highly ranked on like my list of like the important things in the story, right? And this is always really fascinating to think about, like how, I guess, communication between like the artist and the, consumer kind of works out. Anyway, I bet there's going to be like a text about that at some point. I don't know. I've yapped a long time about like this. Let's continue with this like in the next episode, because otherwise we are going to be running long again. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be seeing you next time. Till then, have a good one, and bye-bye.